never bound chairs.
The rap of cigars hangs thick in the air.
Cigar Mick, the host with most, welcoming my guest, a legendary face with stories to spare.
Apuffaminute, bringing tales untold, and the smoky haze connections unfold.
With a prophet.
What's going on, everybody? It's time for another original Cigars and Conversations with your boys from Apuffaminute. I'm your man, Cigar Mick.
It's the Banker people.
And welcome, guys, for another one, y'all. We about to get this thing going right here, but before we get started, I need some water because y'all hear it in my voice. I think you hear it too. So let's get it going, Banker.
Got that little frog going. But you know how we start every episode, man. We got to talk about what we smoking, right?
Yes, indeed.
Get them off to a good start for this Sunday morning.
Yes, bro. Sunday morning, baby. Let's do it.
That Sunday smoke.
Yeah.
So I got this AJ Fernandez New World.
Word up. Okay.
Yeah. So one of my favorite stories, we talked to him at one of the shows. I can't remember if it was TPE or one of the other ones. But anyway, we met with him. He always talked about making cigars that would remind his father of smoking cigars in Cuba.
Right.
And I said, okay, all his blends should remind you of a cigar you had in Cuba. Right? So I love this smoke. I've never smoked I can't say I never, but I never smoked a cigar in Cuba. But I've smoked what I thought was a Cuban. Maybe was, maybe wasn't, who knows. But at the same time,
we gave it to you. Right.
Exactly. Because I'm like, okay, you never know with these Cubans. And we had a whole storyline about that one time. We did the interview with my guy, and we talked about how Cubans are so, just the economy is not where it needs to be. So everybody's rolling cigars. Right. So sometimes you never know if you're getting a real Cuban. But anyway, AJ always said he wanted his father to be reminded of the cigars he smoked in Cuba. So this is one of my favorite smokes. Love what AJ does, man. One of the master blenders out there. He's collaborated with some other folks. He makes the Banker cigar with H. Upman, which is one of my other smokes that I enjoy as well. But definitely just wanted to start off this Sunday, with a good smoke with one of our people we enjoy speaking to from time to time. But yeah, good smoke, man.
Yeah, AJ is just a real one. You know what I'm saying? And I feel, it's unfortunate, man, because I haven't seen AJ, haven't run into him in a while. We used to see him all the time, at the, the PCAs. Like I said, the first time I ran into AJ, it was still IPCPR back then. Right. But see him at those shows, also at the Big Smokes back in the day as well. But haven't ran into him in a while, man, but he's a real good dude. Genuine. You got to brush up on your Spanish a little bit, man, when you're trying to holler at him, man. But just an outstanding person, man. I'm doing something a little different today, bro.
I see you.
You see what I'm working with right here, bro? Okay. So this right here, man, is the Family Reserve. It's the Pappy Van Winkle.
Yes.
Okay. By the Drew Estate Cigar family, y'all. So this is a real special blend cigar. And I wanted to smoke this one today because I actually got this one when I was in New York at the Enthusiast Report event that was out there for the Cigars, Bourbon, and Spirits event, right? And because we are going next weekend to Newport Beach in California to the Enthusiast Report event there, I wanted to start off with this because it will remind me to mention the event that I'm going to next week, right? So again, I wanted to talk about that, man. So it's an outstanding event, man. Make sure if you don't have tickets, VIP is sold out, right? But there's still like some general admission tickets that are available. So make sure you get out there. There's some tables still available for that as well. But it's going to be wonderful, guys. So Drew Estate hosted a very special VIP tasting. This was one of the high-end tastings that they had. They paired this with the actual Pappy Van Winkle bourbon, and it was awesome, man. But to tell you about this smoke, man, this is a double wrapped cigar, right? So it's wrapped with a Mexican San Andreas, but it's also wrapped with a Kentucky, wrapper as well, right? That has been I guess you could say it's been, what do you call it? Cured, or it's been bourbon aged. That's the word I was looking for. Bourbon aged for like 12 months. Right? That's the Kentucky side of it, man. So it gives it this full body, man. It gives it this hickory like flavor, man. But it's also it's a medium. I would say it's more of a medium body cigar, right? So it's just very flavorful, medium body cigar, man. But it's an outstanding experience. So if you haven't tried this one yet, man, I promise you, you won't go wrong with this one, man. Again, Family Reserve, Pappy Van Winkle, Jew Estate, very, very well done cigar, guys. So make sure y'all check that out. And
that's cool.
You know, I posted something on IG this week talking about the 3 main reasons why people should go to these types of events. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's the camaraderie, right? You get to mix with other cigar aficionados, man. You get access to rare cigars like this. You know what I'm saying? And you get to, you know, up your knowledge game.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So again, it's just if you go to these events, man, around the country, you know, you're just going to walk away with something more than what you came with.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm fortunate to have you know, some of these in my humidor right now. So I just wanted to come out here and light one of these up today. Yeah.
That sound almost like them bourbon barrel aged wines and stuff. You know how it gets that little nuttier taste to it, more than fruity. After sitting in that barrel, it sounds like that.
Exactly, exactly, bro.
Nah, good deal, man.
Yeah, man. So I wanted to start on a happy note. You know what I'm saying? So life
before we get canceled.
Before we get canceled, you know what I'm saying? So now, what you're about to hear. Now, let me stop. You know, but you know, there's a lot going on in the world right now, man. You know, we say that a lot. You know. But before we get too deep, bro, let's talk about the good things, man.
Yeah.
Like, what's been going on with you, fam?
Man, all good stuff, bro. The banker is moving and shaking, man. The banker is the banker. Okay. You know, it's like, you know, the economy is in a weird space, you know, in a weird space. But usually this is the time to make money. Usually this is a time of opportunity. So I'm optimistic about what the rest of the year is going to look like. Right. And the rest of the next 2 years, to be honest with you, then we start campaigning for a new president. But anyway, you know, the next couple of years should be optimistic for a lot of people. Gotcha. There's going to be a lot of opportunities floating around. I always say stick to the staples. You know, stick to the staple goods. Real estate, you know, gold, silver, stick to the staples. True. You know, the stock market is going to be crazy. I was like, either you're going to ride it for the long way or you can't play in it at all. It's like those people that be trying to be day traders and stuff, most people ain't got the heart for it. Exactly. But it's a lot of good things going on, right? It's a lot of good stuff going on. I'm just proud to say, you know, I just had one kid graduate from high school. You know, man, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. Got accepted to school. You know, she got a spot as a cheerleader doing cheer stuff on the college team. So it just blessings all around, man. My wife got a promotion. You know, just blessings all around, man. I can't complain about nothing.
Yeah, bless.
Yeah, I can't complain about nothing.
That's what I'm talking about, bro. You know what I'm saying? So that's the type of news that we need, man. Because there's so much negativity that surrounds us. You know what I'm saying? Always. And in the same vein, man, like, you know, I walk in blessings every day. You know what I'm saying? I count my blessings every day. You know, wifey and I, we just came out of a real, you know, up season for the weddings, right? Uptick in the wedding season. Even though tourism is a little bit challenged right now in Las Vegas and stuff like that, but people are still booking weddings, right? And we've had most of our couples who have been coming here from outside of the country, right? We just, you know, just had a couple from Australia. We just booked a couple from Korea that's coming out and stuff like that. So we've been getting a lot of, you know, business like that, man. So that's cool. And the other side of the coin is, you know, that I started the travel agency. So that has really been picking up steam, man. You know what I'm saying? As people have been, you know, booking their, you know, summer vacation travel and things like that. And the specialty for the travel agency has really been to couple with the wedding business, right? To kind of focus on destination weddings, right, on honeymoons and even romance travel. But it really has picked up around the family vacations and things like that as well with the summertime. So,
and you would think it'd go hand in hand, right?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I'm excited about that, man. I feel like the sky's the limit, man. It's been a blessing. Planning some absolute crazy, you know, trips in the future as well, man. So I'm gonna get you involved in some of those as well.
Cool.
But things are real cool with that, man. So that with all of that that's going on, man, I'm very excited, man. Family's blessed. Found out, you know, just yesterday, man, that my daughter and her family, man, they just put a down payment on another upgrade. They're buying a bigger house and all of that type of stuff, man. So this is their third one, man. Their family, you know, so that the family is growing. They just got a new dog. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, so it is what it is, you know. So I'm just like, you know, I sit back, man, and I watch these things. And I'm just like, man, God is so good. You know, so you know, so everything is wonderful, man. So, you know, but then again, I look at the world, man. You know, and as we posted up earlier, said, look, man, you know, there's a lot of crazy stuff that's going on, so we need to light one up, get in the studio, and talk a little bit, right? Because it's Cigars and Conversation, and if you don't know, we'll share with you right now. The whole premise of Cigars and Conversation, right, it's around the conversations that people have while they're smoking their cigars, right? Now, we don't set out to alienate. We don't set out to ignite or spark or, you know, to, you know, cause anybody to feel any certain way, right? But we do like to challenge, right? We do. I like to engage in the art of argumentation. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by that is, when I say the art of argumentation, like the art of debate, right? Because you know, it doesn't matter what side of an argument you take. If you can defend a position, right? If you can cause somebody to see something from another perspective, right? Then, you know, you may be able to cause them to move off of their staunch position, right? Or they may be able to move you off of your staunch position, right? It just depends. I'll give you an example. I've heard you say many times, and I shared this position with you, right? About how you viewed Mark Twain, right? You know, and most of us view Mark Twain as he was a racist and this, that, whatever the case is. Well, my sister, my older sister, who is a avid scholar, right? She reads everything. She literally just convinced me this week that he wasn't. She said, "Oh no, you got Mark Twain all wrong. You got it twisted." I'm like, "How can I have him twisted?" You know what I'm saying? And stuff. She said, "No." She said, "If you read his later works, you will understand that this man evolved." You know what I'm saying? This, that, and the other thing. And then she started schooling me on things that I didn't know. Like, yeah, after he got married, you know, his wife and his wife's parents, who were abolitionists, by the way, which I had no idea. Okay. You know, they changed his position on a lot of things, which was apparent in his later writings. I was like, well, okay, I never knew that. You see what I'm saying? So this is what I mean by, you know, through argumentation, right? And that's not a bad word, right? It's not fighting. It's debate. It's sharing of ideas. New information will become available, and sometimes that opens you up to be able to learn something new. Feel me? All right. So anyway, let's talk about what's going on in the world right now. Right? Yesterday, the United States, right, thought it was wise, okay, decided to drop some bombs on Iran. Okay? All right. So what does that mean? Are we at war with Iran now? I have many people ask me that. Are we at war with Iran? I can't answer that question. You know, whether or not we are at war. I would say we committed an act of war. Right? I would say that we have committed an act of war. I don't know if we are actually at war. I would say that what we did was an escalation. I would say that it was an act against the United Nations. It was an act that was illegal in the eyes of international law. Right? And it is what it is at this point. But you know, we're Americans, so I guess we can do whatever the hell we want to do, right? I don't know. But at the end of the day, personally, I don't know if it was the right thing to do. And I'll tell you that I do feel like there will be consequences, right? And what do I mean by that? Man, do you know how we got over 40,000 U.S. troops that are serving right now in the Middle East? And we just literally put those guys in harm's way? Like, real talk. You know what I'm saying? And that's what concerns me. And that might not mean something to most of the people watching right now. But my son literally just got back from Qatar, bro. like a year ago. You know what I'm saying? Like, I literally was like begging my son to get out of the military before the election, right? Because I was afraid that some shit like this would happen. You feel me? So, like, yeah, there's kids that are serving over there right now who are less safe today than they were 2 days ago.
Yeah, you touched my soul, bro. I was like, my brother went in '03.
Mm-hmm.
It was Operation Iraqi Freedom. I'll never forget that. And he went in at that time.
Yeah.
And you know how much we worried about him? And he did 4 tours in the Middle East. 4. Yeah. He had a job and he had a rec where he was required to go there multiple times, right? Yeah. He led missions, all that kind of stuff. So absolutely, I agree with you. I'm like, that first, it just didn't seem to make sense why it happened the way it did, and it seemed so familiar at the same time.
Yeah.
Didn't it remind you of something that happened before, right? And that's why I bring up Iraqi Freedom, because it was Iraqi Freedom, then I forget what the other one was after that, and then we were training the Iraqi soldiers and stuff and all of that, and that was 05, 06, and I'm like, okay, doesn't this feel real familiar?
Yeah.
We trying to get somebody out.
We forget. How soon we forget. So just like Iraq, okay, I'm glad you brought that up, because just like Iraq, right, the false propaganda, right, was that it was all about weapons of mass destruction, right? Now, if you recall, this is a quick Google search if anybody wants to look it up, right? First of all, there were no weapons of mass destruction. Correct. If you remember, like Colin Powell went on TV with like a little vial or something else like this, and he's like, "This is why we need to go in there," right? Yeah. Or something like that, right? But there were no weapons of mass destruction. 3 days after we dropped bombs on Baghdad, the UN came back and called it an illegal action, basically called George Bush a freaking war criminal. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, it was what it was. It should never have happened, right? It was about oil and it was about regime change, right? At the end of the day, that's what it was. Hey, guess what? This ain't about weapons of mass destruction either, right? It's not. Yeah. Anybody who believes that, you know what? Holla at me, bro, because I got some beachfront property in Kansas that I need to, you know, that I want to sell you. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, the propaganda is so, I mean, he's literally just giving you the same playbook that was used before. It's nothing original about this. You know what I'm saying? Just like the last time Israel went in first, right? And the United States came behind. Matter of fact, what's the chick's name who's the
Gabby.
What's her name? Yeah.
Gabby, I don't have a brain fart with her last name.
Oh my gosh, she's the head of the U.S. intelligence.
Yeah.
Right? 3 months ago, she literally just came out and said that Iran has no nuclear capability, right? Other than maybe like turning on some lights. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like some power, stuff like that. She literally just said that they had no weaponized capabilities, right? But now, all of a sudden, you know, Israel's like, oh, they're the worst people in the world, and we need to do this and that and the other thing and the third, right? That's not what this is about, bro. Right. You know? So, but if you really want to know what it's about, we can get into it. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day. Because most Americans don't know what it's about because, you know, we just watch our propagandized televisions.
But we look at, so I mean, cut you off, but I'm thinking about it this way, right? Think about the countries that are aligned with Iran. Think about how many of them we've been in disputes with. Oh, yeah. We started talking about China, Venezuela, all these countries, right, that have been aligned with Iran for many years. We've been fighting with Venezuela about oil, Iran about gas and oil, China about manufactured goods and shipping in goods and the tariff situation that popped off right in the first 90 days, right? And you start thinking about these countries that are aligned with them. Why not go after the head of the snake? We didn't go after the head of the snake. We went after the easiest target. Exactly. We went after the easiest target. Exactly. The easiest one to disguise everybody. Because guess what? Diddy going to be back on the streets with baby oil for everybody. While we all looking at this. You're right. You're right. It's so many distractions for us right now, right? We not paying attention to the real stuff that's going on, real victimhood, real things that's happening in the world. Exactly. I was like, it feels so much like the lead up to 08, 09, and it feels like the lead up to COVID. It's like, I'm just seeing all these patterns happening again. It's got to be some distraction for us to be paying attention to this other than something else. There you go. Now, you know, I never prepare
I never prepare for when we
Go
come
ahead,
on camera.
man. Yeah.
But I wrote some stuff down this morning as I was having my coffee, man.
Yeah.
Right? Because I knew I was going to have to talk about this,
Yeah.
right? Because, and again, I didn't want to forget. So I literally wrote something down. So if y'all want to catch this jewel, catch it. If not, man, you can turn it off now. All right? But I want you guys to understand this, all right? So again, I said, they actually messed up and told you what this is really about. Because it's not about weapons of mass destruction, okay? What's it really about? It's about regime change, all right? All right? Because the Iran is led by Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, right? And he is an integral part of BRICS, right? An intergovernmental organization made up of Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa, which now also includes Egypt, Ethiopia, Iran, and the United Arab Emirates and Indonesia, bringing it to a total of 10 member countries. All right? To put that in perspective for you, that's about 54.6% of the world's population right there. Right? Over 4.3 billion people of the global 7.92 billion. All right? So if you understand that, then it's easier for you to understand the real reason for the trade wars with China, right, and the whole tariff thing, okay? So now you got BRICS on one side of the table. Who's on the other team? Well, that would be the G7, and that's led by Coach Donald Trump in the United States. And the G7 is made up of Canada, France, Germany, Italy, Japan, the UK, and the good old US of A. And together, they make up only about 10% of the world's population. So do you see the problem? It's all socioeconomics, y'all. All right? Since World War II, the United States has been the #1 world economic power, able to instill its will and set terms through strength and fear. But since 2015, China began investing heavily in STEM education and R&D, and today their economic might rivals, if not exceeds, the United States in many areas. China is a major player in Iran, buying like 30% of their crude oil, right? And the play here is to replace the current leader with a new puppet leader to limit the role of China and her partners in the region. That's how I see it. That's it right there, bro, in a nutshell. Yeah. That's what's going on. It ain't got nothing to do with weapons of mass destruction.
But you think about Muammar Gaddafi, right? Free healthcare, free healthcare in the whole country, free education, free college education, all of these different socio-economic things, they portrayed him to be the most demonic leader there was. Yeah. They took him out in the street and beat the mess out.
Well, you got to go back on Gaddafi, right? Because what happened with him was, it was the same type of situation, but he decided to play ball. They said, hey, stand down all of your nuclear program, stand down all your nuclear program. And he didn't want to go down, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to remember who it was that was before him, right? So he actually did. He got rid of everything, right? So they left him in place and he stayed there for like 10 years, but then they still went in there and ended up killing him, right? The country that they was not able to do it with, it was two of them, man. I think was it which one is the bad one? North Korea, South Korea, right?
North Korea,
right? They didn't follow suit, right? Which is why they went ahead and rebuilt theirs, right? And then there was another one, and they didn't follow suit either. And I can't remember who it was either. And they went ahead and decided to build up their nuclears.
Was it Russia, right?
No, it wasn't Russia. It was another one. I can't remember who it is. There's another country that we don't mess with anymore, and what have you. The problem, but by doing this, we basically have dared, right, or we've incentivized Iran not to stand down, right? We've incentivized them to go ahead and to build up their, their nuclear arsenal, even if they weren't planning on doing it before. Now it's like, oh, they ain't got shit to lose. Yeah. Feel me? Yeah. So, at this stage of the game, it's like, oh, okay, so if that's the case, because again, intelligence said that they didn't have anything that was, of a weaponized manner. Correct. But if y'all gonna blow us up anyway, if y'all gonna do all of this type of, well, now, damn it, now we got to do something to be able to defend ourselves. You feel me? So again, this could all backfire, right? And we have so many military bases in that part of the world, man, that's all around, right? And there's so many other countries that are that can have a stake in this game, like Turkey, for instance. You know what I'm saying? Turkey is another country that's kind of on the fence, right? They can go either way on this thing, you know. So there's a lot of things, man.
There's a lot of shared culture in Turkey with the Middle East.
Exactly.
So you start talking about language,
you
know, cultural connections. Now you got another alliance that could happen right off the bat, and they in the closer quarters than say a China or what have you that can come in and break up the whole situation real quick.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was like, and one of the things that tripped me out, man, was like we looked at the bombings. It wasn't like we were just bombing military sites or, you know, strategic positions. We was bombing them.
Yeah.
We bombing the civilians.
Well, that was Israel. Yeah, Israel was just bombing, like, just to be bombing, bro. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the U.S. did try to bomb the, you know, so-called nuclear facility sites, man, with, you know, with these deep penetrating bombs, so to speak.
With that much?
But if you heard your president last night, it was like, oh, it was such a success, and this is amazing, and we're the only ones who could have done this, and all of this, and it was a big success. But then today, the Joint Chiefs of Staff was backing off, man. They was like, well, we really don't know about the damage. You know, we won't know for a while how much damage was actually done. Why did they say that? Because the reports came back and said, well, there's no elevated levels of radiation in the area. So really, they don't know if they've done anything. And Iran right now is acting like the U.S. is a non-motherfucking factor.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Because they went ahead and started bombing Tel Aviv again today. They really ain't, I don't know if they made a statement really about the U.S. or whatever at this stage of the game, but they just went back to bombing Tel Aviv like business as usual.
But when you start talking about those countries in alliance, right, it feels like what happened in World War II, right? There wasn't a lot of countries galvanized with Germany and Germany's initiatives, right? But Germany understood that they had a mission they were trying to carry out. They said, okay, we're gonna carry out this mission and what have you. There was a couple of countries that galvanized along with them, Italy, a few others and whatnot. But then all of a sudden it was like, okay, what are we really doing here? What are we really doing here?
Yeah.
And we saw it happen when we went into Vietnam, right? And we was like, okay, we're going to go to Vietnam and shut down all these situations. We're going to try to create another regime change. And failed miserably. Failed miserably. We threw away, what was it? I think at the time it was like hundreds of millions of military equipment was getting thrown off of boats, getting off, you know, throwing into the sea and all this stuff. I'm like, we failed miserably.
When's the last time the United States has definitively won a war?
I couldn't tell you. Because, I mean, we had alliances. I mean, if it wasn't for Russia, we wouldn't have won World War II. Vietnam was a clear and cold-blooded loss.
True.
The Korean War, maybe.
Nope.
I guess you could say. I don't know. Nope. Okay.
World War II, honestly, bro. World War II.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like you said, Korea, no. Vietnam, no. Afghanistan, no. Iraq, no. I mean,
the Gulf War?
The Gulf War, yeah. We liberated the fuck out of Kuwait, bro.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, that we did.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, man, like, again, I don't know why we always end up in these situations, bro. I really don't.
It just seems like a pattern, man. When there are things building up and things are happening around us that we're not paying attention to, it seems like next thing you know, there's a war.
Yeah.
There's an artificial war that gets created. And it's never about what they say it's about. It becomes some other thing we find out years later, right? And we were just having this conversation. I was like, they knew about the housing crisis 7-8 years before it happened. 7-8 years before the housing market crashed. But guess what happened in the midst of the housing crisis? While that was building up and it was coming to fruition when everybody was going to find out about it, we had Iraqi freedom.
Exactly.
Right now, this economy is in an awkward space.
Socioeconomics. I keep telling you.
We don't produce anything other than I can't even say we produce people.
Yeah.
We used to have the smartest, the best, the fastest, and all of that.
Yeah.
We don't produce that anymore.
Nope.
They're coming from all over other countries. This is how you say, okay, India, China. They're smarter. They're learning things that we don't learn. They know world economics. They know world knowledge better than we do. Our kids are not learning the things that they need to do to be a world traveler.
Don't believe me? Go to a Cisco conference. Go to a Google conference. You know what I'm saying? Go to any major IT international conference. Go to any one of these
They're all
international
European and Asian.
They're all European and Asians, you know what I'm saying, who are in attendance to these conferences because those are the personnel. Those are the people who run the companies. You know, those are all of the engineers. Those are all of the IT professionals.
Well, I say I'm the banker. I'm the banker for a reason, right? So we started talking about a Chase Bank, right? Why does Chase Bank outsource one of the most critical pieces of their business to the Philippines? They outsource one of their most critical pieces. Yep. Why do they have more employees in Asia than they do in the U.S.?
Yeah.
Tell me that.
Yep. And you brought up Vietnam, bro. Vietnam is like, like the world leader in semiconductors now, bro. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like honestly, bro, like the countries that we used to look down on are surpassing us, technologically, bro. You know, like you said, India, Vietnam, China, like all of these countries, bro, are like going a lot further because again, we stopped manufacturing, right? We can't, I understand, the whole piece about, we're going to bring manufacturing back and all of that. But the reason why we can't is because we don't have the education anymore, right? Mm-hmm. We stopped educating folk, right? It became more about making money. We made education hard, right? Because we was more about, how much money we can make off of students, potential students, right? Rather than what kind of a workforce we can build. You see what I'm saying? So that became a problem. Whereas in these other countries, they're educating their students and their workforces for free.
Correct.
Correct. You know what I'm saying? That's why they have the best engineers and everything else, right? So, yeah.
And I'm a riff here a little bit, but doesn't it feel like at this point we have this thing ingrained in us as Americans to not only rebel, but to say regimes that we don't agree with, we're going to rebel against? Because it seems like, okay, that was, when we had the Declaration of Independence, we fought against the Europeans, right? Then we had the Civil War. We did the Civil War and all that kind of stuff started happening. Whenever there was a regime or a leadership or something in place that we didn't agree, this was ingrained in us to say, okay, we're going to rebel, but we're going to rebel with no substance. There's no substance behind it. It just feels that way, like that's just who we're going to be. From back in the times when the country was formed, that's what we keep doing. And it's like if they don't get in line, we're going to try to use power and force and try to take them over. We were using the tactics of the Native Americans in the Independence War. We was using their tactics. We was doing guerrilla warfare, and then guess what happened to us in Vietnam? They used guerrilla warfare against us. We couldn't win for nothing.
Yeah. I think I think war is more about making money, right? It's not. It's a money machine. It's about the people who finance the wars.
Yes,
you know what I'm saying, on both sides on both sides, right? Whenever countries war against one another, there's always those who are behind financing it, right? The war machine, right? So that's really what it comes down to. People get rich when there's wars, right? And whenever things like you said, with the economy, with the real estate or the housing crisis and all of that type of stuff. Whenever you need to create, finance or something like that, a war is the quickest way to start making money or what have you. Like I said, this whole thing that's going on right now is social economics.
But you remember the movie Iron Man, right?
Yeah.
And Tony Stark, one of the first scenes in the movie, he got blown up by a bomb that said Stark on it. His name Tony Stark, right? they were selling weapons to their own enemies.
Yeah.
You don't think we doing the same thing?
Oh, we always did.
You don't think Boeing and Booz Allen and these other companies
absolutely.
are selling products to our own enemies?
Yeah.
They using the same equipment against us.
Yeah, yeah.
Just like I said, we trained the Iraqi army. We trained them.
Exactly.
We left, I don't know how many artillery and weapons and stuff in Iraq.
We went to Afghanistan, okay? So, no, let's go full circle. First of all right, we went and trained the Taliban in Afghanistan to fight the Russians, right? We didn't call them Taliban back then. We called them Afghan freedom fighters, right? Because they were good guys back then. When they were fighting the Russians, they were good guys, right?
Okay.
So we went and trained the Afghan freedom fighters to fight the Russians, right? And stuff like that, okay? Fast forward, right? So now when we leave Iraq, we go over there, right? Because we said, oh, that's where Saddam flew to or whatever, man. So we go over there now. They bad guys, right? So we go over there, and our sole purpose is to overthrow the Taliban.
Mm-hmm.
Feel me? And we go over there, bro, and we fight these mugs for 20 years, bro. We over there for 20 years fighting the Taliban, bro. Mm-hmm. Fight them. Well, when it's all said and done, not only do we not, like, definitively win this thing, right? We turned the country back over to the Taliban.
I was about to say that, yeah. I was about to say that.
And not only do we just turn it back over to them,
yeah,
all the shit we using to fight them with, here, take that. You can have all this, man. You want the stage, you can have all that, bro. I'm sitting back like, so what was the purpose?
What was the purpose?
Yeah, come on, man.
You put my brother's life at risk for what? For what? You said 20 years. For 20 years. We couldn't find Saddam Hussein, or not Saddam Hussein, or Osama bin Laden for almost the whole 20 years. We couldn't find this man. They didn't come to find out he was a former CIA agent.
Right, exactly. Exactly. So again, you know, all of them, like even Saddam Hussein, right, was put in place at one point. And that's my thing, bro. Like I said, when we do these regime changes, we set up puppet governments. We put people in place, right? Saddam got too big for his britches, right? So we had to take him down, right? And so on and so again, bro, the game just keeps gaming and what have you, bro. And we keep buying into this thing like, oh, we're making difference and we're saving the world and this, that, and nothing. No, the rich keep getting richer, bro.
Yes.
That's all it is.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? And we just pawns in the game.
We are. And they playing off of the lives of Americans, right?
Yep.
From the ones that are serving directly in the military to us trying to live everyday lives, right? We started talking about things like inflation. You started talking about the price of just everyday goods like buying energy, buying water, buying certain staple goods, right? It affects us on a day-to-day. And we sitting here like, why is this happening? Why is that happening? I hope y'all been noticing the gas prices already went up another 40, 50 cents.
Go up more.
They just went up another 40, 50 cents in the last month, and that's going to continue, right? So then next, you know, we'll be paying $6 gas prices again, but guess what we paying attention to? Oh, they bombed Iran.
Yep.
We doing what we supposed to be doing. I'm American.
Yep.
I'm American. We going to bomb the shit out of them for no reason.
We use patriotism as an excuse to walk around with blinders on. As an excuse to not think critically, as an excuse to accept things blindly, as an excuse to just fucking be ignorant, bro. I'm sorry, bro, but that's what it is. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of hate, mail and text on that, bro. But that's literally what it is, bro.
But that's what happens,
well,
right?
Yeah.
And you've traveled a lot, right?
I've been around the whole freaking world, bro.
When you travel, what do people say about Americans? Y'all don't understand other countries. You don't want to. You don't want to listen. You don't want to learn. Yeah. You get these blinders on about the U.S. Don't get me wrong. I love this country. I know I live better than I probably could live in many places, right? Yeah. But that being said, at the same time, we just walk around with blinders on. Yep. And it's the same thing we talk about all the time on apuffaminute. And these are just the words of the Banker and Mick. Like, we just talking to y'all from the heart, right? These are just our words. I'm saying from the bottom of my heart, read a fucking book. Pick up a book Read a newspaper. Get your information from multiple sources. We say it all the time. Don't just
watching U.S. news sources.
Oh, and don't get stuck on like, okay, I'm only going to turn on Fox. I'm only going to turn on CNN. I don't care if Fox is labeled as Trump Network. I'm going to watch them because I want to know what they saying. I'm going to watch CNN. I'm going to watch all kind of stuff, right? Because I want to know what everybody's saying. I'll get my own opinion. I'll form my own opinion around it, right?
If you can do that, but most people can't. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem, man. Most people.
But if you got no knowledge of history, how can you?
Yeah.
If you got no knowledge of history, how can you form a realistic opinion about anything?
Yeah.
I mean, even a monkey can memorize stuff, right? I mean, a monkey can use a tool. So I'm like, if they can do it, why can't you do it?
Exactly. Anyway, bro, I mean, I know it's a little somber, bro, what have you, man, because we don't know, like, where we're going from here. You know what I'm saying? And again, it's like this could be the beginning of something really tragic. There's a lot of rhetoric right now, right? There's a lot of threats going back and forth, and you know this, that, and the third, and what have you, man. It's still early. We just did this bombing thing on yesterday. But this could literally be the beginning of something huge, man. Like, we could literally be on the verge of World War III at this stage, man. We just don't know. I hope not. You know what I'm saying? I hope not, bro. Like, I hope we ain't going out like this at this stage. But again, it just, at least when we went into Iraq, bro, we had congressional, like, sign off. Right? We didn't even have that, bro. We didn't have anything, man. So at the end of the day, this was a unilateral move by one man.
And at least when we went into Iraq and Afghanistan and we were fighting the Taliban and all these other groups, right? That was galvanized around 9/11. We had an event that we was all galvanized around.
There was no provocation for the United States to be involved in it. And I'm going to tell you this, man.
Yeah.
Right? So, supposedly, right, allegedly, right, the U.S. was supposed to be having discussions, right, negotiations with Iran last Sunday, right, on the 15th, on June 15th, right? We had a meeting set for negotiations with Iran, all right?
Okay.
Now, let's go back. And the reason why we had to have negotiations with Iran, right, is because in 2018, right, when we had the old Iran nuclear deal, right, then President Trump basically ripped up the agreement and walked out. All right. That agreement was signed by President Obama, the United Nations, right? You know, everybody else, Iran signed it, everybody else agreed to that one, right? And then in 2018, President Trump ripped that up, and that was the end of that one, right? And Iran was abiding by that. Okay, so, but anyway, we were supposed to have this new negotiation meeting on the 15th of June, right? But what happened on Friday the 13th? On Friday the 13th, Israel decides to go in and bomb Iran. Why is that? See? Right before, now, can Israel go in and bomb Iran 2 days before we're supposed to go in there and have a negotiation meeting with them without the U.S. knowledge? Hell no. It's so much, bro. See what I'm saying? It's so much, man. Anyway, I digress.
So we're gonna name this episode hashtag Wake Up.
Wake up. Exactly. Please.
Wake up.
Yeah.
Don't get caught into the propaganda. Wake up.
Exactly right, bro. So anyway, I feel like it's probably a good time to roll this one up, bro. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, y'all, listen up. Before Banker takes us out, I want to say a few things, right? So again, I told y'all about next weekend, man, which is going to be fire, right? Okay. Also, it has come to my attention, man, that the Bay Area is going to be having a big Bay Area cigar festival, cigar weekend. you know, that's coming up in August, man. I want to say that's August 7th through the 10th. You know what I'm saying? So Apuffaminute is planning on being up there for that event as well, man. Shout out to my man, Bay Royal Ron. Shout out to Drew from Fine Ash. Y'all, peace and love to y'all, man. So we planning on coming up and hanging out with y'all for that as well. You know what I'm saying? Don't forget, man, right here in Las Vegas, y'all, it's going to be Torch LV, Big Smoke Weekend, y'all. Make sure you get your tickets for that. Go to torchlv.com, y'all, and make sure that y'all get your tickets for that. It's going to be the first, all right, the first day festival, cigar festival in Las Vegas, all right? So we want y'all to make sure that y'all get that. It's going to be at the
government center.
Government center. I was gonna say convention center. At the government center, all right. And that's gonna be Big Smoke Weekend. It's gonna be music. It's gonna be cigars. It's gonna be food. It's gonna be fly. Your boy Cigar Maker is gonna be hosting that event, man. So make sure y'all come on out for that, man. And you know, we just gonna have a wonderful time, man. So again, make sure y'all get out to these events, man. It's gonna expand your knowledge. It's gonna expand your love, man, and the community for this thing of ours. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And with that, man, Banker, take us out, bro.
You know, we always say, man, we appreciate the love y'all continue to show us on Instagram. It's been a beautiful thing. The followership is growing. We're getting more content out to you guys. Like I said, Mick said we'll be in San Diego this weekend. That'll be a dope event.
Newport Beach.
Or excuse me, Newport Beach, right outside of there. But yeah, it'll be a great event. We had some other content that just came up from the last couple of events we were at as well. We had some folks in town for PCA, some other stuff. But yeah, be definitely dope. Or TP, excuse me. PCA was in New Orleans this year. But yes, there's a lot of good stuff coming out from Apuffaminute. Please stay in tune with us on Instagram. Show us the love, give us the likes, give us the comments. Even if it's some hate, if it's just feedback, give us all of that. Let us know what you want us to smoke on the show. Maybe give some more opinions about what we're smoking. Maybe we'll start doing some more pairings with libations or whatever. But all that stuff being said, the library is up on YouTube. That's where we have the library of all of this content we've been putting out. Please go to YouTube, do the same thing. Like, share, comment. Make sure to click the bell link so you get the notification when we post up something new. Got to do that as well. Stay in tune with us. Then, I say it all the time, we're on the podcast, man. So on the podcast platforms, Apple Music, Pandora, wherever you listen to your podcast at, please tap in with us there. Put us in your headphones, put us in the car, listen to what we're putting out in content-wise from there as well. But we appreciate y'all, man. It's like, we do this as a labor of love. We do this as a labor of love. We're going to keep improving. We're going to keep making the show even better.
That's it, y'all.
Yeah.
Again, like he said, y'all, it's a labor of love. We're not trying to antagonize nobody, y'all. You know what I'm saying? He said hate, but we don't really want hate. It's all love. You know what I'm saying? Even when you guys come back, you don't have to agree with everything we said. Like I said, we appreciate the art of argumentation, man. So again, if you see it from a different perspective, a different side, man, challenge us. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is, y'all. We want to hear from you. We want to, let us know, how you see it. But at the end of the day, man, we just trying to share a little bit from our studies and from what we see and what have you. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, man, we all got to get there together. Somehow, some way, we all got to survive this thing, man. You know what I mean? Somebody ringing the bell, man. So we're going to see who's at the door. But at the end of the day, man, we about to be out of here. One more time, it's your man, Cigar Mick.
It's the Banker, people.
It's the original Cigars and Conversation with Apuffaminute, y'all. We're going to be back with another one at another time. Until then, peace and love, y'all. We out of here.
Appreciate y'all.
The glow of embers, let your spirit soar. With every puff, we're craving more. A cultural haven where the cigars burn slow. In a world of chatter, we let the truth flow. Sharing our passions, the laughter and the strife in this dim lit room. We celebrate life. Apuffaminute, bringing tales untold. In the smoky haze, connections unfold. With a puff of smoke, a bond is made. No time to waste, let the memories cascade.